That doesn't sound bomb.
All right. So tomorrow, Carl is going to just mute everybody here. So Carl's going to make an announcement tomorrow in the Beachbody Champions page. So May 19th, Wednesday at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So yeah, it does look like a tub in the picture. So who knows? There was a rumor floating around that it was Oreo flavored Shakeology, but I don't know if that's true or not. There was like a picture of an Oreo they posted, I think, on the Shakeology Instagram page. So
I was thinking it was gonna be cookies or cream or something.
Yeah, maybe it's that. But yeah, I guess we'll find out for sure tomorrow at noon Eastern. All right, let me hop into recognition. So Success Club, we got quite a few coaches that have hit Success Club 10. So they've helped at least 5 people so far this month get started with a challenge pack. At SC10, we got Priscilla Sosa. We got Caitlin Teft, Jonah Burcello, Elizabeth Koning, Casey Louth, and Ashley Zacher. And then SC11, we got Cassandra Steelman and Heather Green. SC12, we got Kate McGinty, Cassie Jackson, Amy Eckert, Michelle Cahill, and Kyla Johnson. Then at SC14, Taylor Ramos and Kelly Marks, and also Destiny Melendez. And then Success Club 18, we have Sydney Thompson, Kim Roberts, and Jody Winter. And then the top 5 coaches with SC 20 and above, we got Kate Schultz, Carrie Steelman Schmidt, Megan Jones, Ashley Felddyson, and Bailey Glanzer. All right. And then let's see if I can find the team cycles board. Here we go. All right, so team cycles for the coaches that aren't sure what team cycle bonus is, that's kind of that second way you earn. So obviously the first way you earn is your own effort, your personal volume, the customers you're helping. And then the second way you earn is based on how many people your team is helping. And the way Beachbody pays you for that is what they call these team cycles. And every time your team combines for a balanced 300 team volume points, basically they sell $300 a product, you get a team cycle bonus. And as an emerald, it's 14. As a diamond, it goes up to 18, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they start to add up as you start to get a couple good leaders, and then they get a couple good leaders of their own, and then all of a sudden, those $18 team cycle bonuses are like flying in. So the coaches that had 10 team cycle bonuses, so it would have been $18 for the diamonds. 18 times 10, so 180. So Marie Ottaway, Second Business Center, Kelsey Connor, Megan Jones, Lauren Kellum. At 11, we had Sean Wortham and Danielle Ream. At 12, Lauren Bauman and Michelle Katz. 13, Susie Bell. 14, Chris Bachlet and Kate Teft. 16 cycles, Kim Roberts, Amy Eckert, Second Business Center, Caroline Nathan. 17, Bailey Glanzer and Kate Schultz, Second Business Center. 18, Terry Bachlet and my Third Business Center. 20 cycles, Ashley Felddyson, Second Business Center. 26, Megan Wortham. 28, Amy Morgan and Brooke Reed. 29, Chuck Wallace and Michelle Cahill. 33, Gage Eckert, Tyler Smith, and Carrie Steelman Schmidt. 38, Marie Ottaway and Curtis Schultz. 43, Cassie Jackson. 57, Shauna Valenta. 62 cycles. So now we're getting it to over 1,000. We got Amy Eckert's First Business Center. Over 70 team cycles we had last week. We had my second business center and Sydney Thompson, over 100 team cycles. So now we're getting up into, almost 2,000 a week. We got Kate Schultz, Michelle Phillips, Andrea Wallace, and with over 180 team cycles, we had Andrea Wallace and Ashley Felddyson. And then with over 200 team cycles, we had Beth Reelman and myself. So those are the two main ways you earn. You got we kind of have that success club board with your own personal efforts, who you're helping personally. And then you got the team cycles based on how many people your team's helping. All right. Let me shift over. Okay. So today we have Nicole Dobransky, I think is how you pronounce it. Is that right? So you guys might recognize Nicole. She was on the national call a couple weeks ago, and I reached out to her because I loved her topic. It was basically just helping your new coaches get their first sale, how to get your new coaches kind of started right out of the gate. And that's something we talk a lot about, like, Emerald in 24 hours and that kind of thing. Sometimes we overcomplicate the business, and I loved how Nicole just kind of keeps it really simple and just gives them tunnel vision, one thing. And that's something we always talk about is #tunnel vision, keeping it really simple. So I reached out to Nicole and asked her, and I totally had kind of forgot this, but apparently on the cruise, I think 2 years ago, Kristen, my girlfriend, and I were in the wine bar, and Nicole was in there. And I think we were the only people in there, and we were chatting. And I think Nicole assumed that I was like the boyfriend, like just kind of hanging out along for the cruise, and Kristen was the coach. And so we had a good laugh at that. And also I thought it was cool. Nicole is also went to school for accounting, which I did as well. So that was also kind of shared that. But yeah, she's been a coach. I think I would say, I know she's hit Success Club for 60 consecutive months. So at least 5 years. And she hit elite already this year, I believe.
Next week.
And I think is ranked number 13 in the entire coach network currently, which is pretty amazing, which is based on how many of your own personally coaches are having success, hitting Success Club. And that's part of the requirements to kind of move up the leaderboard. So the fact that, she's 13 in the whole company is pretty outrageous. All right, Nicole, I'm going to let you hop on here and share about why you became an accountant and also about, the travels you did, like backpacking through Southeast Asia. Like, I thought that's such a cool thing. But then, yeah, we can kind of jump into the meat of the call, kind of helping our coaches get that first win under their belt.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll give you guys my story first, and the non-national wake-up call version, I guess, because they really made me pare it down. But yeah, I've been coaching, it's 5 years next week. So that will be 60 months, which is crazy. But I was introduced to Beachbody actually in 2011. My then boyfriend, who's now my husband, and I did the program P90X. I was a crazy yo-yo dieter. I was a runner who had run a few half marathons and thought that it was going to magically, make me skinny and I could eat whatever I wanted, but that wasn't true. And I had been always trying different diets, and basically my entire 20s was me, restricting on the week or during the week, and then going overboard partying on the weekends and whatnot. And a lot of this stems from, like, I grew up as I'm an only child with a single mom. And so I was a latchkey kid, and I got into this habit early on growing up, just like going home after school, digging into the snacks, watching TV, not being very active. And that just ruined my self-esteem, which led to, like I said, years of yo-yo dieting and just really having a bad self-image. And when I started running, I started to get more confident and started treating my body a lot better. But it wasn't until we did P90X that everything changed for me, because for me, it was the nutrition. And if you've done P90X, almost no one does the nutrition program, because it's like complicated or not complicated. It's like the portion fix, actually, but it has you just eat really healthy. But what I what my husband and I went all in, and I'm so thankful that he was my accountability partner, because I don't know if I could have done it on my own, but we gave up coffee for 90 days, which was crazy. We didn't have kids back then, so I felt like it was a lot easier to give up coffee. And we went all in with the nutrition, and I think I lost 8 pounds in the first 4 weeks. And then by the end of the 90 days, my body had completely transformed. Like, I felt amazing. I could do like pull-ups and like 30 push-ups, and I ran a half marathon right before we started P90X, and just with my first time breaking, if you're a runner, 2 hours is like a big milestone. And 90 days later, after doing P90X, I ran 3 days a week, and I set a personal best in the half marathon by 5.5 minutes. So with not very much running, P90X completely just made me into this incredible athlete. And it really changed my relationship with food. Like I said, before, it was like I had this limiting belief that, like, in order to be thin or fit or healthy, you had to like not eat very much. And I was like, I'm not really willing to do that, because I really like food. And P90X taught me that I could have a good relationship with food, that I could eat a good amount of food, and I could look at food as fuel, and I could also have those treats and still, feel confident and perform really well too with my running. So that kind of it literally changed my life. And at the time, I had started blogging, which was really in back then in 2011. And I did it completely out of just the desire. I loved writing. Like Patrick said, I was an accountant, and I actually was a communication major when I first went to college, and I wanted to be a journalist, but I went to a college that didn't have journalism. And I am really good at math, and got into an accounting class as part of my minor, and just but I pursued accounting because it seemed like something I was going to be really good at. It was going to pay well. It was the steady thing, and I knew I could do it. But I just never really loved it. And I started falling in love with the process of sharing my fitness journey and blogging. And I fell in love with fitness. And I remember researching, like, how can I monetize my blog? Can I become a run coach? Can I become a personal trainer? And all these things. And I was like, at the time, I was like, I don't want to give up this income. I don't want to be a personal trainer and work at nights and weekends and on other people's schedule. I was like, the monetizing the blog thing was super overwhelming. Like, people would give me free race entries for things, but nothing like big. It would just, and I felt like I was kind of almost selling out, because I would be promoting things that I didn't even want to use. Right. So none of that really worked. And at the time, it just didn't make sense for me to leave accounting to go pursue fitness or blogging or writing or whatever at the time, and just kind of coast by. But once I had my daughter in 2015, and I went back to P90X to lose the baby weight, because that seemed logical at the time, to do 1.5 hour workouts. Eventually I found 21 Day Fix, because P90X wasn't, I did it because I was determined to lose the baby weight, but I discovered 21 Day Fix, which is, as we all know, is much more efficient use of our time. And, started having good results, had people asking me about it. And a friend was signing up as a Beachbody coach with my coach, Kelly. And she kind of basically, I had FOMO, and she signed up. She was going to sign up as a coach. So I was going to sign up as a coach. And I signed up with, honestly, I was on maternity leave. I was I'm a type 3 Enneagram. I like to be busy. So I was kind of bored I loved being home with my baby, but I was also like, I want something else, and I love helping people. So I'm just going to become a coach. I did not have big dreams for what it was going to do. I didn't imagine leaving my job. I just really thought it would be, fun. And once I got into our team community, our team was a pretty new team. We are part of Diesel Nation, which at the time, we're not we weren't super involved with them. So we just had our own team page, and we didn't have any real systems in place. I did no coach training. I kind of just flew by the seat of my pants, and I'm a self-starter, and I just started sharing. And luckily, because I had built a very small social media following, probably about 1,000 followers on Instagram. So not huge by any means, and some blog followers, I was able to kind of skirt by getting Success Club every single month since I signed up, by just sharing my journey and putting myself out there. But I was holding myself back so much in the beginning because I was scared of what people would think. I wasn't inviting to coaching like I should be. I wasn't talking about it enough because I didn't feel confident in it. I had no idea how I would help anyone have success once they actually did sign up, because we had no systems in place on our team. And I just couldn't imagine that someone was going to figure it out. And at the time, I don't think I realized that, but I basically, this first 2 years of coaching, just kind of not coasted by, but like let all of my excuses, let my limiting beliefs kind of fester there and sit there. And a lot of times I felt frustrated. I would like compare myself to other people. I would, wonder why I wasn't going anywhere fast enough. I'm on an inside dead leg because that friend I mentioned quit and I was on her inside leg. And I was like, why am I not making money? And I'm working all this time. And I was just not really taking ownership of the fact that I wasn't doing everything I needed to do. Yeah, I might've been doing a lot of the stuff I should have been doing, but I wasn't doing all of it. And I really liked training. I really liked personal development. So I was doing a lot of the personal development, a lot of the training, but not always implementing it. So as I shared like on the National Wake Up Call, which was a big moment for my coaching career, when I was 7 months pregnant with twins, he got laid off. We got the news that he got laid off. And that was just kind of one of those wake up call moments where, we had to kind of face that we had just bought a house. I had left my accounting job. I was doing Beachbody very part-time. I was doing another little part-time job, and we were like very much scraping by so that I could be home with our daughter, not do accounting anymore, pursue Beachbody. But again, the Beachbody income wasn't really, and it was definitely not enough to be paying our mortgage. And we live in Southern California. Yeah, we were talking about moving. We were like, how are we going to pay for the medical bills for these twins? Like we were already racking up so much because we had a high deductible plan, and it was extremely stressful. And just watching him go through like the burden of feeling like he was failing the family, and me feeling like there's no way in hell I'm going to go for a job interview. I'm literally about to give birth to twins. It was just kind of one of those moments where like I always like laughed, because when I went to my first summit, everyone talked about how like you just have to make the decision. You just have to make the decision. And once you make the decision, you're gonna like everything's gonna change for your business. And I was like, I don't get what this decision is that everyone's talking about. But like in retrospect, I'm like, that was kind of the moment that we were like, okay, like I'm gonna stop making excuses for the parts of my business that I'm too afraid to go after, which is not go after, but like talking about coaching more, inviting to coaching more, getting out of my comfort zone, giving up, making some sacrifices, and kind of made that switch. And it wasn't immediate. Literally, I just have twins. So with time, over that year, I started just really, first I shared my postpartum journey with the twins, which was obviously, it was a big part of I had from all three transformations, I've had P90X, my postpartum the first time, and my twin transformation are like really good, inspiring transformations. And I think that is the basis of, we all know this business is being proof the products work. So my number one job after I had them was to go all in and to show people that this worked and invite them on the journey, get back to basics, and show people that I was like, I always tell my coaches, we're professional problem solvers. We're solving people's problems. No one cares what comes in the challenge pack. They care what it does for you. And when they see that you are transforming inside and out, and that they can see you getting happier and stronger, and that you're enjoying the journey, and that they could be a part of that, that is what makes them want to join you. Not what comes in the box or what ingredients are in Shakeology, because I don't even know all the ingredients in Shakeology, but I do know that I like to drink it every afternoon, and that it helps my sweet cravings, and because I have a huge sweet tooth, and it helps me get through to dinner without eating a ton of my kids' snacks. So that's like what I talk about when it comes to Shakeology. So another big moment was in 2019, January, I kind of drew the line in the sand. I was a diamond coach at the time. And I said, I had listened to Emily Favre's story of her going from diamond to 15 star in like 4 months. And that's why I love the fact that this community just shares stories of what's happened to them and where they came from and where they went, because hearing her did that, I was like, if she can go to 15 star in 4 months, I can go to elite in 1 year. So I set on my calendar on that January, my twins were now like 7 months old. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to start waking up and doing a morning routine. I'm ready I got the Rise Up planner. I'm ready to treat this business like a business. And that's one of the things I wasn't doing before. I thought I was treating it like a business, but I wasn't truly treating it like a business. It was more of a hobby. It fit into when it could. I am, you know, I had my schedules and whatnot, but I wasn't truly treating it like the $1 million business I wanted it to be. I was treating it like the hobby that it was paying me to be, right? So on that day, that 1st January, I put on my calendar, start job as an elite coach. And I got to work. I started tracking my coach invites.
What year was that?
Huh?
What year was that?
That was 2019.
Okay, cool. So you had been a coach for like 3 years, like up to that point.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it was like 3 years in, you were like, all right, this is it. This is my second start date. Like the second start date when it's like, all right, this is when I'm actually gonna go all in and not take my foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And it took kind of like 3 years between the day you signed up and the day that you were like, all right, today's the day I'm really gonna do this thing.
Yeah, like 2.5 years, I guess. Yeah.
And it wasn't like you weren't doing anything, like you were still hitting Success Club. It was just, maybe it was going to Summit for that first time. Was it 2018 that you went to Summit?
No, because I had my twins in 2018, so I missed Summit that year, but.
Gotcha. So 2017 Summit, had the twins in 2018, and then January 2019, it was like, all right, let's just go all in on this thing.
Yeah, I was part of this like training group. It was called Fearless Recruiting. That was by a bunch of top coaches put it together. And I remember hearing like Moira speak and talk about her vision. And that was a big group, a group that really helped me kind of
you were setting like
I mean, I remember them saying like, okay, my goal is 10 working coaches a month. And I remember being like, okay, I get like maybe one every other month. So something's got to change here. And I remember writing it like on my mirror. And so, yeah, I started tracking my coach invites. I started making myself accountable to inviting to coaching and to posting about coaching and to talking about it and just sharing the journey of building my team. And I had a small team. Again, they weren't doing a lot, but I just really showcased that kind of journey of me becoming the leader. And over that year, we started to grow and grow, and we didn't ultimately hit elite. We hit premier that year, but I feel like there was just this huge shift and this gaining in momentum. And then last year we hit elite in August. My goal to go to leadership, to like qualify for leadership on my own. And that was like my line in the sand event. But another big turning point for me in my business was when last January of 2020, the elite report came out in January, and we were ranked like number 36 because I had a success starter or something. And my mentor came to me and she's like, "What's your team name?" And I was like, well, so I had been co-hosting my team. I had been basically like co-leading my team with 3 other leaders on my team. So there was 4 of us, and it was kind of our group team, but I was like, I'm ready to go out. And so as I've talked about, I'm a runner. And so I finally embraced being a runner and going all in with the running, us being a team of runners. So I named my team Run the World, and we have the Beyonce theme song. And I recruit runners, and like some people aren't runners that join me, but I would say 98% are. And I remember when I had my call with Sandy for the National Wake Up Call, she's like, doesn't that like hurt you that you only, I'm like, no, it's the best thing I've ever done, was saying, this is who I'm looking for. Do you want to join me? And I think totally embracing who I am and who I'm looking for completely changed the game, where now people are coming to me and saying, I want you to be my leader because you are a runner, because I see, now that I see that you are growing this team of runners, and I want to be a part of that community. So yeah, that was a long-winded part of our story, but yeah, we'll be hitting elite hopefully next week if our diamond, but I have 1 diamond that should lock it in next week, and then we'll be elite for this year too, which is huge. And you
did it all with being in like a dead spot. Like you didn't have an upline that was like helping you build it, like put people under you.
No, I've never had anyone placed under me ever.
And so I like, so you said you were kind of running like the team as co-leaders with some of your own leaders. There was like, you said 4 coaches that were kind of all
So it was like, yeah, my coach, Kelly, her coach, Shannon, and then another coach, like parallel, like on my, like Kelly's other leg, Kim. So the 4 of us were running the team together. And so now I've not kind of like I've left that team. I'm still part of it. Kelly's one of my best friends, actually. The girl who was, my best friend, or my friend who quit, her coach happens to live like 30 or half a block down the street. So, yeah.
And now, so what is your, what's your team name now?
Run the World.
Love it. And so when did you start to like, all of a sudden feel like, okay, like I'm a leader, but then also like, I'm not just a leader by myself. Like I have some other coaches like in my downline on my team that are like, have the potential to start to really like become leaders themselves.
I would say, well, I had one in particular. Well, one of the things that I did that year that I wanted to go elite was I joined Bob Heilig's Legacy Leadership Academy, which I love. I love him.
I was listening to some of his like podcast episodes. I can't remember what the name of it. I just like looked up Bob. One of the other coaches that was like a speaker recommended like listening to him. I think it's called like
it's your virtual upline.
Your virtual upline, yeah.
Yeah. I joined his Legacy Leadership Academy, and he taught me like how to create the systems, which is what my onboarding system is based on, what I learned in his thing. But he also taught me like leadership development. And for me as an accountant who was very much like, I was in FP&A, financial planning and analysis. I didn't have like a big team. I wasn't like a leader of other people. I like had no leadership experience besides like self leadership. And so I also realized I had a lot of limiting beliefs around leadership. Going back to childhood, things like I'm an only child, or like someone calling me bossy because I am someone who like expresses my opinion, and being afraid to lead people and tell them what to do. I had a moment early on in my leadership experience. One of my first working coaches wanted my help, and I asked her to fill out, I don't know if it was still called the business activity tracker back then. And she like got mad at me and like was mad that I asked her to fill out the trackers to have a conversation with her. And I remember being like, oh, maybe I shouldn't. I was just afraid to micromanage people. And Bob, that gave me so much confidence in how to speak to people. And so one of the things he recommended was, he calls them weekly accountability meetings. And so I put together my emeralds and I put them in this like pod, and we would have weekly calls and we would report numbers and whatnot. And that was a huge learning experience for me, because first of all, I learned that half the people in that group were not very committed to their business, which is normal. But it really helped me start to have real conversations with people and grow into my leadership and start to develop those leaders. And out of that group came my first diamonds. And then last summer, I had this girl who came out of nowhere, my true unicorn coach. I talked about the unicorn that quit on the National Wake Up Call, but I finally got my real unicorn, who was a girl a twin mom I had been talking to since we were pregnant with twins, who came on. She was like, I'm ready to be a coach on a Tuesday. When she signed up, I was paid 1 star, and 2.5 weeks later, we were 5-star, because I was really mad at myself. I remember that day because I had dropped diamond in my second CBC and my husband's account. So I had 2 diamonds. I had to get those back. She went from 0 to diamond in 16 days, and we locked in 5-star and went elite because of her. Not because of her, because of all of us. But they do come. I remember being like, I don't know, like, how do you get these working coaches who are just like, get it and want to run? But they're out there somewhere. But one of the things that I really struggled with in the beginning was I was waiting around for that person to just take me with them to the top, versus being the coach and leader I needed to be to attract the unicorn who's going to go with me. You're never, if the unicorn comes and you're not ready, they're not going to stick with you anyways. So you got to show up like the leader first.
They won't grow into the unicorn.
Yeah.
Love it. So when did you start creating the idea of, okay, I need to like get my new coaches early wins. I need to just teach them how to like get that first sale.
So this is exactly like what Bob's training, the legacy leadership. So now I'm in his next level leadership. But I went through like his systems. I knew that the onboarding wasn't good. So I went through with my upline together, and we kind of first created the system, but I've tweaked it over time. I basically what he basically said is what I was hearing on all these trainings, people were like, send them a personal development book. And I don't know what your guys' new coach training is like, but it was like, get them reading a book. And I'm like, they just signed up as a coach. They don't need to read a book too. Like, that's just so much information to like take in all at once. Like they can barely like do their workout. And I just realized that, yeah, I think Bob talks about like getting them over the quit line. Like you basically have to treat your new person like they're going to quit tomorrow and they're going to be your new rock star, or your next rock star at the same time. And the best thing you can do is just give them some simple steps. He even suggests actually on your getting started right call, having them make their list of people and start reaching out to them right on the call. I have not yet done that, but
yeah. There's some crazy stat. I remember Eric Worre sharing, like if a coach sells one thing in their first 30 days, like the chances of them quitting go down like by 99% or something like that.
Yeah.
If they can just sell one thing in the first 30 days, I think it was like, I want to say 10x. They're going to stick around, 10x more likelihood.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're right. We do try to like throw a million different things at them and try to overcomplicate it. But it sounds like you have like a really good system for just helping your coaches keep it really simple.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to pull it up if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
So this is also a system that my entire team has access to. It's definitely one of the strengths that I have is that I create templates for everyone, for every launch and everything, like email templates for people. They can make it their own if they want, but that's one of the things that I've really focused on is like people need, like in the beginning, they really need to be told exactly what to do. And then with time, you have to let me share, and then with time, they become their own, right?
Should be able to share, I think.
Okay. Okay. So I have this first welcome email, and the welcome email is fairly simple. This is me with all my different tabs at once. But in my first email, I just tell them that they are in charge. I'm here to support them. They're in charge of their success. They can move at whatever pace, but I do give them the goal of helping 3 people with the challenge pack. I don't say it's called Success Club because that doesn't mean anything to them at that point. And then I tell them that they can add people to my bod group, basically. And then I just add them to the team page and I have them fill out this questionnaire. The questionnaire just gives me a little insight about where they're at. And it asks, I think the most important question on the questionnaire is what is your biggest fear or hesitation about coaching? And then in the next email, I like address that fear or hesitation.
That's huge. That's such a huge question to ask. Even not just new coaches, but like anytime I get on a call one-on-one with a coach, they could be a coach for 10 years or 10 days. Like that's one of the questions I ask. What is your biggest like obstacle or fear? Like just them like verbalizing it or sharing it with someone, immediately it loses a little bit of power. And then you can address it. Like, whether it's in an email or right up front, face to face.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then this is
this is in the next email. I just send them, I send them, I'll show you what I actually send them first. So the next email though, like what I described in the National Wake Up Call of like that process, if someone's like brand new to Beachbody and they haven't even tried it yet, I will not send them this next email that basically gives them their action steps, because even this is too much for someone that like doesn't, now that Beachbody on Demand includes so much, I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's like, it used to be like you'd get 21 Day Fix in the mail and there'd be like this little thing and you could like just follow it. It was a little bit more simple. Now I feel like there's so much going on that like just getting through like that lingo is important before you throw them into, okay, now we're going to do the announcement. But I find that most of my coaches are familiar with Beachbody, whether or not they're my challenger or they come to me. they already had God and they came to me to be a coach. So this is like the step I would do if someone already has a belief in Beachbody, right?
Right. Yeah, that's definitely like the foundation. Like if someone's a coach and they've never tried a program, it's like, all right, we got to start with step one. The best way I can set you up to be successful isn't to have you start posting like an announcement that, hey, I'm a coach. It's to get you the results first and the belief more than anything. Then like inviting and sharing is just more natural.
Yeah. So in this first email, I have this video. I used to do a live call, the new coach call, but it was kind of the same information. The new coach call, we used to actually have way too much information in it. It was like 45 minutes, and we would talk about like social media and like tips on social media and how to write your first post and how to invite. And it was like so much information that I made this. So basically the first week that they're a coach, I just reiterate the same 3 things over and over again, which is mindset, like, remember you're a beginner, remember you're new, remember this is all going to be new to you and that you need to take baby steps. And like, so that's like the pep talk I'd give at the beginning of the call. Then I walk them on the call through how to write their first post. And then I also have this Google Doc that explains it in writing. And this how to write your first post is in the Beachbody Champions page, if you need it. And
those 3 things are, you keep reminding them of mindset, patience, which is probably kind of helpful that a lot of your people, 98% of them are runners, because they already probably have like a pretty good mindset about like, hey, like it's going to take time to get this.
Oh, the 3 things are basically the mindset part, and then how to write your first post and your invites. Like that's it. Like it's just those 3 things. So it's like on the call, I'm talking about mindset, then I'm telling them how to write the first post, and then I'm telling them how and who to invite. So not only how, but who. And so then in this email, I'm reiterating those 3 things by saying, here's how you write your first post. Here's how you invite. And then your goal is just to have 3 people sign up through this process and invite them to the BOD group. And then I have the checklist to like keep them organized. So they watch the call, they do their announcement, they send their invites, they get a one-on-one call after that.
Post the coach announcement, and then who are the 20 people they're inviting, the 20 people that liked it?
I tell them to start with 10 friends or family and then go to people that liked or commented. I find a lot of people honestly just go straight to who liked and commented, and they skip over the friends and family. Or I have people that are the opposite and they go just to friends and family and then are afraid to invite on social media. So.
and what does it kind of sound like the invite you have them send?
I have examples on here. So this is what it says, where to start basically, and tells them to invite friends or family. And then here's 2 examples. I encourage them in their invite to include like what it's done for them, so that it's like talking about the problem that they're solving, or like showing them what it can do for them within the invite. To be honest, I don't like check and see what their actual invites say, so I couldn't say what they actually are sending.
Gotcha. This makes it so simple.
And then I have this like little checklist so they can write it.
Sent the invite, sent the info, followed up. That's cool. What do you give them as far as like a template for how to draft that first post?
So that's the, where'd it go, this email? This is the one that I mentioned is in that Sandy wanted me to put in the champions page. So this is like exactly what I wrote, what I like talked about on the National Wake Up Call. This is pretty much my like notes. It's written here. So originally, like before the National Wake Up Call, I actually had like a slightly different version of this document, but I decided that this was better and put it. And so now this is what I'm using.
Awesome. And you shared that in the champions page?
Yeah, I could send it to you too if you want it.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
But basically in the invite post, I just try to get them to understand that you're telling a story, and that at the end of the day, people want to join you because you're solving a problem that they have, or they see something in your struggle and they want to solve that. Like they want that same transformation you had. So I often find like that a couple things that people make mistakes on that first invite post. Number one is they just make it super general, and they say like, you know, a year ago I started doing these home workouts. They're just so awesome, and I love them so much. Let me know if you'd want to join me. Like I know that was really dumbed down, but like it's very similar to that. There's no detail. There's no like, what was the struggle? What was the problem? What, like, I tell them to be like, if they can, be as detailed as possible. And the other thing is the call to action is usually like they need it to be stronger. So I encourage them to like, you know, do the one we like you see often, say, I'm looking for 5 women to join me or join my next virtual accountability group. Send me a DM or comment below and I'll send you information to look over. So giving them not only like, when is this happening? What start date? But what do they need to do to reach out?
Yeah. This like your steps here, and like, I think, what is it, 5 kind of like parts of the post is like very similar to Eric Worre, how he teaches people to share their story. Because most people always focus on the part of what's the product? What am I excited about? And they don't share the part of the pain, the struggle, like the obstacles they were trying to overcome, and we did like an exercise at the event where I had to pair up with 2 different people. One, the person only shared their product and why they were excited about it. And it was like, cool, thanks for sharing. And then the other person shared what their struggles were, what their pain points were. And then they shared what they found that's helping them with that. And I was like so much more invested in that second person because I felt like I really got to know them a little bit more.
Exactly. Yeah. And if someone's scared to do it, I always just encourage them that like they're comparing themselves to your before photo or your before. So I do encourage people to do a transformation for this post if they have one. If they don't, it's okay. Just make sure that it's like a good photo of you, clear. But people always look at the before, because I know I was so scared the first time I post my P90X transformation, and I wasn't even a coach. I was just sharing it because so many people were commenting, and I took the pictures and I was like, oh my, like I did not even realize what the transformation was until I saw the picture. And I was like, had to remind myself that most people are looking at the before. They're not judging the before. Like I was looking at my transformation and judging myself for the before picture, being like, oh man, how did I, like, why did I, like, I was like mad at myself for looking that way. Right. When that's not what they compare to. They can, you know, they're not thinking that when they look at your transformation.
Right. You got, yeah, talking to like the person you were before you found this kind of stuff. Very cool. This kind of reminds, like last week, we had a team call where we had like some of the like newer coaches that are having a lot of success kind of share some of the things that have helped them. And a bunch of them shared like that first post they made. I think it was, Jen, it was like a lot of your coaches, right? Like, is that something
Yeah.
that I want to open it up? Do you have a little, like maybe a couple more minutes for questions, Nicole?
Yeah. I gotta go in 10 minutes to pick up my kids.
Okay, cool. But yeah, that's, Jen, is that something you teach like your coaches right out of the gate, how to like do that first post?
I'm still working on it, Pat. Talia and Rachel are both on this call right now, and they actually, you know, took it upon themselves to draft a post that felt really true to them. But, you know, I make sure that I get on calls with them and talk about what Beachbody has done for them, and coming from that place of, you know, how has this helped me solve a problem, whether it's an internal problem or an external problem. So, you know, I always offer to read their posts and to provide feedback, but honestly, I got lucky and they just were able to do that themselves.
Love it. Anybody have any questions for Nicole? We'll be seeing you on another national call, I'm sure.
Let's see.
Probably some of your coaches as well.
Nicole, I have a question for you. When you say that you kind of woke up like on that first day of January and you said, you know, okay, day one as an elite coach, obviously, you're saying that out loud, you're putting a Post-it up on your mirror. How did you keep your mindset in that elite mindset, even when you felt like you weren't there yet?
I did, lots of personal development. So I sought out leadership books. So that was the first time I read Freakishly Effective Leadership for Network Marketers, which I highly recommend anyone to read. I've listened to it, I think 3 times. And then I did Bob's training. And I purposely did trainings that were on mindset and leadership in particular, because I knew that's where I needed to grow. I'm not really good at social media, but I've always, because I can be vulnerable, and I love to write. So I've had some success on social media and being able to tell my story. And I know I can improve there, but I was like, that's not what I need to improve on right now. Because for beginning of my business, I was so focused on how many followers and how many likes and how can I grow on social media? But it's really not about that. It's about the quality of your followers and what you're saying to them. And even today, when I do like a long story series, like I did today about coaching, I know my story views are going to go down. And if I was only cared about story views, then I wouldn't do those things. But you have to know that the right person is staying and watching every single slide, whether or not they take your poll or fill out your form or anything. You just have to know that, you have to put those messages out there about coaching frequently and talk about it all the time, and not worry so much about if you're going to lose someone. Because if you lose someone, that's fine. They weren't there anyways. You didn't need them.
I love it. I love Bob's podcast. He's great.
Yeah, I highly recommend paying for the training. He does these free trainings every once in a while that kind of like walk you through it, and then he has he opens up his Legacy Leadership Academy at the end. But no personal training or personal development is worth it unless you actually take the steps to do it. So, but if you like his style, I recommend him for sure.
Awesome. And I just started. I think that's like success leaves clues. You're like the 3rd person that's been on a call that's recommended listening to his podcast. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're Team Boom, so we kind of have like a fun way of thanking you for taking the time just to talk. We're going to give you a big boom on 3, so I'll let everybody unmute themselves. This was awesome, Nicole. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'll see you tomorrow for your diamond call.
Sounds good.
All right. Big boom on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Boom!
Love it.
Great call.
Thank you.
Great call.
Thank you.
See you guys.